Hello, hello. Hi, everybody, and happy Friday. We have a really exciting episode of Fireside Fridays this week. So, as I'm sure a lot of you know already, Verizon Connect has just launched their brand new, groundbreaking AI dashcam. To say that this product is a game changer is a little bit of an understatement. We've gone from a completely retrospective dashcam to an artificial intelligence driven dashcam that's really going to be able to change outcomes on the road. And you talk about saving lives and having products that are good for the public and society and drivers and businesses, for commercial reasons. Well, this one is a little bit different. This is actually going to change the outcomes for a lot of people, save lives on the road, act as a massive training and development opportunity for businesses too. And today we've got a man by the name of Francesco Sambo, who works out of our data and video products team. Francesco is the chief scientist with Verizon Connect. So I'll bring Francesco in now. Francesco, how are you? How are things?
Hello, fingers great. Thanks a lot. We are still very excited and a bit tired, but still thrilled by the launch of our new product. So, no, very well.
Okay. So first of all, I have to ask you about what I see in the background of the room there. Is that a gigantic banana I
Yeah,
see up on?
it looks like it. That's actually a stone carved thing, but from this side, it
Yeah.
looks exactly like a banana. Yes, I
Okay.
realized it in other phone calls, but it's actually a bucket, a stone carved. Yeah. Well, anyway, yes.
So it's a beautiful stone carved sculpture
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
I've reduced to looking like a banana. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
precisely. Yeah, no, but from this view, I mean, it's easily understandable. So,
Right on. Well, greetings from Dublin. So we're over here in, for once, in sunny Dublin. But you're not coming from Dublin, so why don't you tell everybody where you're based and what
okay,
life is like
yes.
there?
So I'm based in Florence. Actually, today I'm in Padua, close to Venice. I'm in my hometown, but generally I'm based in Florence, in the Florence office of Verizon Connect, which is mostly a research and development office. And
Yeah.
I would say with capital for research, we have a lot of talented researcher. I have to say that we have hired during the year, and it's the head of our data science team, which I'm leading. So it's a very interesting place to be, I would say, especially in this period.
Yeah, and we've spoken to Alex as well in a past episode too, and yeah, research and development with a capital R. But I think, if I remember correctly, Alex also said it's my playground, and that every day he goes to work, he may as well go to a playground. And I think that's true to a certain degree, in that you guys get to, I want to say, to break the rules and invent and create over there, not just do and deliver. Yeah, I mean, we have one of the guys on the floor called you the mad scientist earlier on, by the way. So it was a compliment. Yeah, yeah, it was a compliment, honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys. I mean, we're talking about a part of Verizon Connect over there in Florence that is, your inventors and
Yeah,
creators.
yeah. I mean, that's the mandate, right? That we got from the company. It's there's I would say there's a lot of freedom to experiment with new things and try different ways of achieving what we have, or trying new things, experimenting with new technologies in machine learning, in data analysis, in web development. So it's no, in that sense, it's really a nice place to be. Um, and it's a playground. I tend to agree with
I
Alex.
knew it.
Of course.
Yeah. So you guys love what you do. Um, I think that's true of every single human on your team, right? Everybody, you have a very specific hiring methodology. You value academics. You're closely related to the universities in the area. I know we've got huge projects going on with the likes of University of Bologna and so on, and but it's not just that thing of being tied academically. It's more like a community, right?
It is. I mean, they definitely want the traits that we look into the people is definitely curiosity, right,
Yeah.
and willing to break what's already there, teamwork, right, because we don't want geniuses. We don't like specifically geniuses. We like team players that are able to, put together ideas to get better and larger ideas. And of
Yeah.
course, yes, we're very tight with academia, especially Florence, Bologna. I think during the past, we have had at least 6 interns that then has stayed as junior data scientists in the team, coming from the University of Florence. We have a PhD program here, and in November, 2 new PhD are starting, and it's an industrial PhD. So they are doing their PhD, one with Bologna and the other with Florence, but as being Verizon Connect employees. So at the end of the 3 years, they will remain Verizon Connect employees with the PhD. And so this allow us, we have some reach, right, in terms of what we can achieve.
Yeah. The PhD program, actually, the industrial one, that's an interesting one in that it's very much so collaborative, and I think the resulting IP that comes out of it, you've got a bit of a trifecta in that the universities will benefit, Verizon Connect will benefit, but arguably society going forward will benefit as well. There's 3 pillars to that, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah. We try to do our best, especially if you work in safety, or if you work in that kind of topics. There
That's
are ways
awesome.
to give back.
That's awesome. So, on the topic of safety, I don't think we've had a bigger moment in the last couple of years than the last couple of weeks, right? And from my perspective, from talent acquisition perspective, be it external or internal, we talk about artificial to a certain degree at a certain level, and we encounter people out there who say they artificial intelligence and that type of thing, and it can be very difficult to separate the and I know Facebook had a big announcement yesterday about a new AI chatbot, so I always joke about the AI chatbots versus real artificial intelligence. Real, right? But what you guys are building over there is real AI, and it has a very specific set of use cases that are impact, related to safety and impacting the world at large. So could you maybe tell us a little bit about the new product, and not just the product, but your career, the product, the launch, and the impact?
Okay. Yes, sure. That I have to say that, I've been with Verizon 7 years, and I've been hired by Verizon after some years in academia to create a data science team. So they started hiring the 4 of us 2015. So 7 years ago. And let's say the mandate of what we have always been doing is understand as much as possible about our customer, starting from the data, right? So the idea is that, raw data is very raw. At the time, we didn't have even a camera or anything. So raw data was raw GPS data. So the vehicle of this customer is here, and then after 90 seconds, it's there, right?
Yeah.
So this was as bare bone as you can get, right? And the task of our squad, starting from at the time, was let's try to understand as much as possible what is happening to the customer. How can we help the customer to do their work better based on what we understand of their behavior? So this has always been it, right? So is okay, I see the vehicle, but what kind of vehicle is it? How much is it consuming? Is it low on fuel? Is it a large duty or a mid duty? So what kind of mid does it have? It stopped because it's, the guy is eating his lunch or it's doing a work stop. So we should cater for the work stop. All this kind of starting from the data, trying to understand as much to make our product as smart as possible. Then 4 years ago, roughly, we started to incubate a new project based on video, right? We haven't approached, we didn't approach video before. We started then. And the idea is that if you put a camera into the vehicle, right, forward facing and possibly also driver facing, how much more can we understand of what's happening, right? So always in this behavior and this framework of understanding behavior and then making the product smarter. Of course, with the camera, you can understand a lot, right? But if you're a human, you take a look at the video and you can understand a lot of what the video is. making algorithms that understand as much as you can is AI for us, right? So if I feed you data, I need to get information and knowledge out of it, and then possibly even actions that, starting from there, like alert you if something is dangerous or is wrong, or you could get hurt, right? So a comprehension or information extraction, and even possibly actuation or reporting, right? This is AI in our context, right?
Yeah.
And so the product that we have incubated and then launched 3 years ago, almost now, and probably even more than that. With COVID, it's hard to measure, right? But it's 3 or 4. It was a post hoc product. So we were mounting the camera in the vehicle, recording a video every time there was an arch event, so an arch braking or a hit. So something recorded by the accelerometer, which is a gizmo that records if there's a violent shake in every direction.
In milliseconds, right?
In milliseconds, yes, exactly. And if it's severe enough, we were recording the video, sending the video on the back end, and processing the video offline, right? Then we did, for all the videos, a sort of a post-hoc analysis saying, was it dangerous or not, right? Were there, and in several ways, right? Did you almost hit someone or some vehicles? Did you run a stop? Were you driving too close with the vehicle in front? But for, as much powerful this can be, it's always after the fact, right?
Yes.
So
Retrospective.
Retrospective, exactly. So of course it's useful. With fleet management, you always have two actors. You have the driver and you have the fleet manager, right? So this was very useful for the fleet manager because they could have an idea of what was happening in their fleet, but it wasn't particularly useful for the driver, right? The driver was having the camera there without any interaction, right? It's proof of good behavior, if you want. It's liability proof if there's an accident, but you can't really be coached by a camera that doesn't talk to you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Ultimately, the new camera that we launched last week, is a game changer in that we brought the AI, so the analysis of the video and of the accelerometer data and of everything that can come from the vehicle in the camera, so that the camera can be reactive straight away. So the classical example, your eyes are blinking too fast and you're starting to yawn. In 5 minutes, you will fall asleep at the wheel, right? The camera alerts you that, well, wake up, or take a break, right? If you don't, if you're not fit for driving before risking an accident, take a break, right? This is the classical and the strongest life-saving thing. But there are also things like, mind the distance from the vehicle in front of you, right? You're driving too close compared to the speed you are. And it's not necessarily your fault. You could be driving and someone cuts in front of you, but then they don't speed away. So beware. If the vehicle in front of you slams on the brake, you will hit it, right? So increase your following distance. These kind of things, you cannot do them post-hoc. You need to analyze the video and straight away communicate to the driver actionable and coachable information.
It's
right?
it's that judgment piece, isn't it? That in-flight, real-time judgment of analysis and judgment. And
analysis, yes. And what I care a lot about is that it's not only bad judgment or driver over monitoring, right? It's really a tool for safety. And every time we find an application that the driver likes, we win twice, right? And for example, tiredness detection is really life-saving, right? So it's not something that just annoys you. It's like having your fleet manager here that's telling you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't. No, it's really a life-saving thing, right? So
it is. I had a friend of mine lost his father. His father had been traveling across the continent, across Europe, got a boat from France to the southeast of Ireland, and was then continuing the journey and driving back up to Dublin. And it's that thing. It's a very old problem with driving for too long. You get tired. You can have those micro sleeps, and you can actually pass out at the wheel. So that's a huge problem, massive.
So yeah, no, and let's see now. This is just the start, right? Because the nice thing is that once you break the barrier and start to bring something into the car, you get the acquired taste, and you would bring more and more because there are a lot of things that you can understand. Another topic, for example, that I'm very keen of is driver rewarding. So if the situation was dangerous, it wasn't caused by the driver, and the driver did anything they could to avoid the danger.
The problem, yeah.
Why not reward the driver? Actually, it's not blaming, it's rewarding. Oh, come on, you did a good job. So are we able to make an algorithm that is able to understand, fault, responsibility, and so also reward the driver? Because possibly, right? So there are some. I mean, let's say we are along the way. We have a couple of patents on that. There's interesting topics that is not just big brother eye on the driver that I'm very keen of, I would say.
Okay, so that's interesting because that would flip the script from being monitored, being watched, Big Brother, as you say, into something completely different. It's not just, it could be very easy for a driver to tie a negative association to that and feel that way. Whereas if you're talking about rewarding, that's a completely different narrative around that, right?
Yeah.
So let's, if you're okay with it, let's take a look at the product. What I'm going to do, everybody, is I'll just really quickly play a video. It's the video from when the Dashcam launched the advertisement, but let's take a look at it and we'll come back in one moment.
Sure.
Here it is, the new AI Dashcam from Verizon Connect. It's smarter, sleeker, and it's got 2 cameras, one for your drivers and one for the road. So you and your team can stay connected like never before. Now you can see what your driver sees and see your drivers. The camera's enhanced AI can help your team stay alert to danger outside the vehicle, like
lane departure.
And it lets you see things like harsh cornering, speeding, rolling stops, and tailgating. And whether it's a cargo van or a truck, the camera also detects danger inside the vehicle at the same time, including drowsiness, cell phone use, and other distracted driving, all in real time.
Pedestrian ahead.
And you can always stay connected from the office or on the go to provide your team with crucial feedback and reward good driving. The AI Dashcam from Verizon Connect. Eyes on the road and behind the wheel.
Okay, when I watched that video, I know it's a sales video and a product launch video, and they're meant to look really slick and attractive and highlight the best of a product and get people interested and hooked, and they are a very valuable tool for doing that. But it doesn't get better than saving people's lives. I mean, when I watched that video, I get goosebumps, and that's a little bit of the geek inside me, but also it's because I'm really passionate about working, and I sell this when I talk to candidates that we're trying to hire for you. Mm-hmm. I'm really passionate about working in a company that, makes cool SaaS products, makes cool hardware that ties into the SaaS product, and the people who work here are the best engineers in the world and best scientists and data people and so on in the world. But this product really is a game changer and can impact people's lives. That's unbelievable.
Yes, no, indeed, and that's been motivating us for the past years in doing this. No, absolutely, and I have to say that the video is very sleek, but the experience is not that different from the one on the video. It's not like the big McDonald's sandwich compared to what given when you open it up.
The Big Mac that's flat.
I actually, as you can imagine, we are testing the camera ourselves, right? So we are probably the by far the one who tested the new camera more is us, right? Because we want to find all the nicks and necks and corner cases and problems and that. So I had it in my car for 2 months now, and That's experience. It's exactly that. So you're feeling it, it's responsive. It's bleeping with different bleeps at different problems. It's I would say understandable, and it's coherent with itself. So it's really at the third time you hear a tailgating alert, you know what's the distance you have to take to make it stop in the future, right? And that's mission accomplished, right? Because it means that you will never drive too close to a vehicle in front of you. And it's not that easy, because it's, for example, let's take the tailgating problem, right? So driving too close to the vehicle in front of you, it's actually speed dependent, right? If you're going slow, you could get closer without risk, but the faster you go, the harder and the more distance you should have, because the longer it will take you to fully stop before reaching the vehicle in front of you. It's not that easy to measure it by hand or by heart, by looking. You don't know exactly how fast you are. You could read it from your speed graph, but you don't necessarily have the perception of speed on the highway that you have on a dirt road, for example. On a dirt road, 50 kilometers per hour look 120 on the highway. So there are, and the distance is not very easy to gauge in all situations. So having a tool that does that for you, right, and sort of at the right moment tells you what a bit longer. It's not annoying. That's what and it's useful, and this is mission accomplished, right? Because if we produce something annoying, it wouldn't have been truly useful, because people would get
No, they wouldn't adopt it. They would be they would be upset by it over time, or just not want it, or not listen, or leverage it, or use it. But no, I think it's absolutely phenomenal, I have to say. So I have a question for you then. If we can turn into geeks for a minute, and I'm thinking back to the video we just watched, the detection of a driver in their cab, or in their car, or their truck, or their fleet vehicle, and they pick up the mobile phone, because it's a very human, and we're into this era now where people are mobile phone natives, right? It wasn't like that back in my day, or your day, and a good while back. But nowadays, the mobile phone, it's not the accessory anymore. It's part of life. It's part of everyday life. So it's an extension of your arm, your mind, almost, in many respects. So it is a human thing if you get that notification to by default automatically pick it up. But we've got a product that has that cab driver facing camera, that single unit, that is able to observe a driver daytime, nighttime, to somehow detect an image, or go through, process the image that it's detecting, and see that somebody has picked up a mobile phone, and therefore taken their eyes off the road and become distracted. And again, in terms of risk management, we're at a heightened level of risk now. How does that work?
Oh yes. So there, as always, as often, complex systems are made of simpler pieces, that work together, right? So the standard components of most of what we do are detection of face. If you look inside, detection of vehicle. If you look outside, so object detection, face recognition. So recognizing that there's a face, then detecting where it is. That's component number one. Then once you get where the person is and the face is, you need to understand head orientation, right? So there's another piece of algorithm that has seen an enormous amount of faces oriented in different ways with the angle told them to. So this is classical machine learning. So you start from data and labels, right? So you see my head this way, the angle is 0. This way is 45. And you have a lot of faces, of course, and as you can imagine, with a lot of ethnicities, because you want it to be resilient to whomever is driving, in a lot of lighting condition, because you want it to work during day, during night, even in infrared, right? So with a lot of infrared images where you see the face that's green, right? I don't know if you've ever seen an infrared video, but everything is verging on the greenish.
Yes.
It's a
That,
black
that
and it's a
hue.
black and green video, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have seen, the algorithm needs to have seen a lot of that. Each and every one it's an every example with an example label attached. So 0 degree, 45 degree, 45 degree down, so on and so forth, right? And then the algorithm is able to learn, the machine learning algorithm is able to learn to associate an angle to the face, right?
Right.
So that way you have the face, I recognize the face is here, the face is looking down. Then you can have another algorithm that recognizes objects, right? Inside the cabin.
Yes.
There's a mobile phone. There's a mobile phone here. There's a mobile, or it's not, or there's a cigarette, or there's a sandwich, or there's whatever, right? And then you combine all of this information, right? There's a mobile phone here. The head is tilted above a certain angle. This is the driver. This is the passenger, because you don't want to recognize the passenger. The passenger can use their mobile phone, right? And you don't want to alert the driver. So, you put some logic on top of the basic let's say ingredients, and then you have the algorithm that's resilient. Then of course it's a living thing, right? Because you can, you design it, you start to test it, and you realize if there's something dangling in front of the face, sometimes it's recognized as a mobile phone. Okay, so then let's think to exclude some parts that cannot really be, because a mobile phone cannot be on top of the head. So, right? And there are this situation, and then up until you find them, you don't know of them. And this, I think, is the strength of Verizon Connect. We have so many vehicles out there and so many cameras out there that we can get most of the corner cases, right? Snow, and there's a larger variant of this video where they're showing that yes, we have trained to snow, we have trained to rain, we are trained to and up until you see the example, you don't think of it. I can make you an example that's great. So we were working on crash detection, right? So detecting when the vehicle hits something, okay? And we were having a vehicle doing 40 crashes a day. Then we got to look at the video. It's a snowplow. The snowplow hit the snow when they have to lift it off the board, right? So they were doing the crash, and but up until you don't see it, you don't think of it, right? Then okay, definitely for the snowplow we have to make an exception, right? Or you have to cater for that situation, counting that the fact that it's gonna hit the snow and it's its job to do it, right? So this kind of thing knowledge of this kind of thing comes with scale, right? And that's what probably give us the fifth gear that no one else has had in this space.
All right, that's unreal. So I just have so many things going around my head now when I'm thinking about this. It's just a simple picture myself driving at the weekend, and a glance to the rear view mirror, the side mirror of the car, is very different from my boxing gloves or fuzzy dice dangling from the in-cab rear view mirror, which again is different from smoking a cigarette if somebody is still smoking cigarettes or using the mobile phone, of course. So that's really complex. So we talk AI, but it's AI, ML, and much more. I had and we actually have I see a technical question that's come in from unfortunately it says LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who it was who posted that question, but they're asking, do you have to charge the product at all? So there's a mixture of different products here, right? Though we've got the device that plugs into the CAN bus system, which is in one location, and then the camera itself is in a different location in the cab. I would imagine the CAN bus system runs off vehicle, but if we're talking commercial vehicles, what is it, 24 volts or something like that?
It's 12 for light duty and 24 for heavy duty. Yeah.
Okay. What about the video product itself, the Dashcam? How does that receive power?
It's nice because we have an adapter that goes into OBD2. So you connect it to the OBD, then you have a pass-through where you connect to the GPS tracker. So everything goes into the OBD connector for light duty. For heavy duty, it's similar with the 9-pin connector to the J-bus, but it's the same concept. So yes, and it's much better than the camera we had before. The camera we had before was more complex. You need a Y splitter cable. This way is really plug the camera and you have the extender, so plug the GPS tracker on top and you're done.
So that's got to help with self-install and that kind of thing over time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Game changer, right?
It is indeed. It
Yeah.
is indeed.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, we measure the experience of installation too. So there's somewhere around a video of me installing my camera, right? And opening the boxes. And I have to say that this camera I installed myself. The previous camera I couldn't. The previous version, I had to bring it to a professional installer. I wouldn't have been able to do, soldering the thing. And
soldering, splitting. Yeah. I used to work in the car game years ago, and we would have wired into CAN bus systems, and it can get pretty ugly pretty quickly when And actually, Italian cars. Speaking of Italians, Italian cars used to break my heart back in the day. I used to in the car game used to do a lot around Alphas and Fiats. And a funny story for you was there was a strike when they were doing the wiring looms one year. I think it was a long time ago, but for Fiats, they had a strike while they were in the middle of production of the wiring looms. And they started out with a certain color, but the loom ended with a different color. So so every wiring diagram that we had to go off on Fiats and Alphas at the time was there was a bit of a problem, because you're trying to follow the wires and come out, and it's all related to the colors and the points. But anyway, I still have nightmares over that. Right, I have two questions for you, and then I'm watching the clock. I know it's lunchtime, but two questions for you. I asked Alex this when I spoke with him on a Fireside Friday, and from what you're saying there, it's not just the SaaS, it's not just the devices, it's not just the assets we track, but you were talking about having this, massive amount of vehicles that we're testing on and we're learning from, and the product is developing and evolving. The question I asked Alex, and I won't tell you his answer now, although you might remember it, but the question I asked Alex was, are we a data company?
Sure. I mean, that's what we do for a living. Absolutely. I know he would have answered the same.
He did.
But no, absolutely, we are a data company.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. Definitely, it's probably the product we offer. It apparently doesn't look like data, but it is database. I mean, you cannot do anything without the data we do, and the fact that we don't just struggle to make the data visible to the customer, but we also use it to improve the product. It's what makes us a data company, I would say.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, the final question then I have for you is, so look, we want to keep this conversation going. I mean, this is so exciting. It's such a phenomenal product. Who should we talk to next to learn more?
But there are several. So definitely there's Douglas Coimbra de Andrade, one of my senior researchers. That's I think it's gonna be, and he has a past in several user experience research. He worked on audio. He worked, so he's I think he could be an interesting person to talk with and to talk to, definitely. So I would pass the testimony to him, I would say, for continuing on this, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, that's brilliant. Well, look, thanks a million, Francesco, for taking. I know I would imagine you probably should be taking holidays now that the product has been launched, right? I know you're such an exciting time, but hopefully now over the next few months, time to sit back, reflect, get to the end of the year, and measure. Measure. Right. So let's see. So a really exciting time. Okay, thank you so much. I'll say goodbye to you now, and ciao, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks a lot. It was really a pleasure, and I'm always having fun in doing this. So.
Likewise.
Anytime. Bye. Thanks.
Okay, folks, there you go. That was Francesco Sambo, Chief Scientist here at Verizon Connect. And I mean, God, if I was to summarize everything we talked about there, from machine learning through AI, academia, the team, the launch of the new product, what is AI, what is ML, the differences between smoking a cigarette and being on a mobile phone when you're driving, but all with a view to improve customer safety, education, learning, improving the outcomes for our customers and society at large. That was amazing. That was just phenomenal. So I can't wait to get to the end of the year or January of next year and look back and see how that product has done. But for now, we'll say goodbye to you. As always, here in Dublin, we've got the food markets on Fridays, and I've got a team outside champing at the bit to get out into the sun and for us to enjoy hanging out on a Friday afternoon and having a bite to eat. But for now, I will say goodbye and leave you with, as always, with our credo, which tells you who we are, how we show up. Happy Friday.
From where we work to where they live. From our technology to supporting theirs. From each and every one of us to each and every one of them. Everything we do affects everything they do. That's why how we work, what we believe, our values make all the difference.
We share our success with the community
to make the world in which we work better than it was yesterday.
We keep our commitments to each other and our customers.
We know teamwork enables us to serve our customers better and faster.
We focus outward on the customer, not inward.
Our actions produce measurable results.
We run to a crisis, not away.
We are committed to doing the right thing.
This is our credo. Our guide to what really matters. How we stay connected to each other and to them. We are Verizon.